Greetings everybody and welcome to episode 0 of my new Skyrim Special Edition playthrough. It's been a while since we played Skyrim. We played as Syria before, the Red Guard, and I kinda let this series a little bit hanging, but I'll talk about that later on. First of all, I want to talk about kinda like what my character is gonna be, the mods I use, the goals, and that kind of stuff. So I will be focusing on playing as a thief. That means I will use archery and daggers as my main weapons. No shields, no heavy armor, usually just light armor. We will try to use poisons for our weapons if we can, make our own poisons, become, a good alchemist, and focus on pickpocketing, stealing things when we can, and ideally not kill too many people. We just want to steal stuff. We are not generally evil, we just want their goodies. But if they get in our way, then, well, sometimes you have to get your hands dirty, I guess. So our character is going to be an Argonian. First time I'm playing an Argonian, always wanted to, but just never chose them for some reason. And he will be named Snek. I don't really know too much about Argonian. I know they have a very strange naming convention. Usually it's like fish in the dark or something, like weird animal names, and I don't know, they're super weird. But once in a while they have like just one single word names as well, and I don't know, Snek sounds kind of like a thievery name to me, and there's a little bit of a joke about that whole snake meme that exists, but I kind of like it. I'm not a big role player, but I always like to kind of make my decisions depending on what I would think this character would do. I'm not going to be talking as the character all the time or something like this. I really like this stuff, but I'm not really good at it, and it becomes really forced and awkward sometimes. It sounds weird when you're not really good at it, and it just makes it a bit more complicated to record and to play. And I just want this to be a very relaxing playthrough as well. But that being said, I do have a little bit of a background story that I want to kind of stick to. So Snek grew up as an orphan. I don't know where. I know they're from Black March, but I don't know if they still live there or whatever. But he just, grew up as an orphan, had to learn to provide for himself through kind of any means, stealing things, stealing food from people, stealing their goodies, and probably make a few septims here and there. So he's very used to that street life, to stealing things, and he doesn't really have a real social connection to people. There haven't been many people in his life that he really trusted or really liked or something. And he's generally not really evil. Like I said, he doesn't go around just killing people. He's not really hateful or anything. He does what he has to do to get by. A job is a job, kind of sort of thing. He came to Skyrim a while ago because he heard of the Thieves Guild in Riften, and he figured, well, he's good at something in his life, which is stealing and thievery. So he might as well try to use his skills to do something more with his life, to tackle bigger jobs, bigger burglaries, what have you. On his way to Riften, though, he tried to pickpocket this Red Guard lady he came across, but it didn't go quite so well. She kind of noticed what he was doing, she attacked him, it got a bit crazy, and unfortunately he lost. He was wounded, he was left in the wild, and eventually some bandits found him, took him in, took care of him, and in return he tried to do, he did some jobs for them, but it wasn't really something he was comfortable with. Bandits are very, a bit too brutal or something for him, and he really wanted to get back to his goal, go to Riften, go to the Thieves Guild and join them. So he decided to leave the bandits behind and make his way back to Riften. Like I said, I don't really know too much about the Argonians and what they do and don't do, I guess. So if there's anything you think my character should avoid doing or should be doing in certain situations, because that's what Argonians would do, then just leave a comment below and I'll try to get that in, right? But it doesn't have to be super strict. This is, it's a sandbox game. We can pretend to be whatever we want, right? We can make this our own story and character. Now for the mods, I use some, immersion and survival mods. And this time I'm trying to be a bit more focused and not have as many mods as I did in my first Skyrim playthrough. We'll have the I need mod again, which means we have to eat, drink, sleep, that kind of stuff, otherwise we get debuffs. We have the campfire and hunterborn stuff, which just like, it just adds more immersion, I guess. We can, we can set up a camp somewhere, we can sleep. Campfire has its own like kind of skill tree as well for certain things. And with hunterborn, it's just, I don't know, dealing with animals and harvesting their products, the meat, their skin or pelts. It just makes it a bit more, well, immersive, and I really like those mods. I do have Frostfall installed, but after playing for a while with this particular character, I think I might leave it off. And the reason is, I feel like the Thief should have a very specific set of armor. It's a very light armor, right? I don't think it would fit if I run around in like big, furry, cloaks and pelt armor and that kind of stuff, just to resist the cold in the world. So I think I'll leave it off for this playthrough. I have it in the pack. If we ever decide, okay, maybe we should use it after all, we can just enable it at any time. But for now, it's disabled by default. And like I said, most of the mods are going to be focused on what my character wants to do. So lots of thievery stuff, things that change Riften up a bit. It makes it kind of turns into the thief version of Riften with like rooftops and kind of stuff where you can like climb up and really cool looking things that make sense for a town that's like overrun by thieves and lots of crime in it. And avoid like most mods that didn't really fit into the character, where I'm like, oh, this is a really cool mod, but this character will probably not use it because he's focusing on like these one thing of story elements of the game. That being said, I do have some more story content mods like the Forgotten City or Falska, whatever it's called. I don't plan on going there quite yet. It's something I would like to explore in the future if we get to it. But yeah, it's nothing we'll do anytime soon. But I have them in the pack because adding and removing mods throughout a playthrough or throughout a save game is not usually a good idea. It can mess up things quite a bit. So having them in the pack but just ignoring them is probably the safest bet to, not screw up our save in the future. And then we have a lot of like combat enhancing mods. So we're gonna play this on the legendary difficulty, and we have Wildcat, which is, it overholds the combat quite a bit. And I added the realistic damage value add-on to it. So that means on legendary, instead of every enemy being a health sponge and we don't do any damage at all, it's more risk and more balance. So we will do 5 times the damage, but we'll also take 5 times the damage. So everyone will deal 5 times the damage, kinda. So a lot of enemies, since we're just a nimble little Argonian Thief, could probably one-shot us if we're not careful and we don't have the right skills or the right protection or whatever. But at the same time, if we are good and we sneak around and we get the backstabs and everything, we'll do a ton of damage as well and take out people very quickly. And I think that sounds really interesting. I played around with it a bit to see if it's even viable, because I have some other mods in here as well that boost a lot of the enemies. We have like Revenge of the Enemies, Organized Bandits in Skyrim, that kind of stuff. So it makes enemies just way more dangerous usually. But it seems really good so far. I've died a couple of times, yeah, but after reloading there was always like the situation where like, okay, I could have done this better, and it then eventually worked. It wasn't something where I got stuck on forever. But if that ever happens, we can just lower the difficulty. If you set it down to mass, there will be 4 times damage for both, but we shall see how it goes. As for the goals, like I said, the first goal and things we focus on is the Thieves Guild. We're gonna do mostly Thief Guild quests, with occasionally like have some side quests mixed in as well, just to spice it up a bit. And I do want to go like dungeon caving and that kind of stuff. And one of the big side quests we want to also do is try to get the Honeyside home in Riften. It's like the player home you can get there. I do have a mod as well that enhances that home a little bit, and it makes it more thief-like, I guess, but we shall see. Once we're done with the Thieves Guild, my plans are to go to the Dark Brotherhood, kind of like continue this path, and at that point our character will probably be a little bit more darker or evil or whatever, not really like super evil, but like, you know, he doesn't really, he gets used to this kind of work, I guess. But that's something for the future, so maybe we'll split it into different seasons or whatever, right? Focus on the Thieves Guild first, that's it. However, that opens up a question for you guys, because I don't know what I want to do. I can't decide. I'm okay with both options, but the question is, should we become the Dragonborn at all in this playthrough? Or should we just avoid this altogether? Not becoming the Dragonborn means we will never encounter any dragons, I guess, right? I think. Perhaps. I don't think there's any dragons until you become the Dragonborn. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But if we do become the Dragonborn, I also have a mod that adds a bunch of other dragons into the game and make them a bit more difficult, so that could be interesting. And fighting them as a thief, I don't know how that will go, actually. I guess we'll see. So if you want us to be the Dragonborn, there's going to be a little poll in the top right corner of the video. There's like a little exclamation mark. If you click that, there should be a poll. You can choose what you prefer, and then I'll see your choices afterwards. There's also a follower mod that I have in here, Inigo, I think it's called, and he seems really cool. He's like a Khajiit dude, and it seems very fleshed out, very many like dialogues and very like high quality, I guess. So, but I'm still not 100% sure if I want to have a companion. As a thief, it kind of makes sense to probably be alone. But at the same time, I've encountered situations where he just saved my butt so many times because the enemies would otherwise just like overrun me like crazy. On the other hand, he goes down pretty quickly too because enemies do so much damage. So it's a little bit of a balance. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure yet if we want to go with him or not. But maybe it's something you guys can let me know in the comments or something as well. But I think that's all I want to talk about this character and this playthrough. The last bit I just want to quickly go over is the stuff from our original playthrough with Syria, the Red Guard, Tales of a Red Guard. I don't remember why we stopped, or why I stopped. You didn't stop, it was me. We did that whole Mad Hatter playthrough, or quest line, right? And then I think that was the last episode. And that's been, that was a long time ago actually, and I don't know why, cause like, I don't know why I stopped, cause I still had a ton of fun, like it was a lot of fun to play, but I guess something else was shinier again. That's usually what ends up being the case for me. So I'm planning to probably have one last episode to kind of finish up her stuff. I wasn't super happy with how I handled that playthrough, to be honest. I feel like all of the mods and her kind of character was a bit all over the place. The mods that I added, you know, that was like the first time I did Skyrim modding. So it's like, ooh, this sounds cool, and this sounds cool. We had a ton of mods, and they're all super cool, and I would all check them out. But obviously, that would take a huge amount of time to even get into all these things. And what ended up happening is that we ran into like the beginner quest of a lot of these things that I added, right? Like story mods and so on. And we did a little bit of them, but then got sidetracked with something else. So we started all these like little things here and there, all these quest lines all over the world, and just didn't like go fully into one of these. And it just felt very, yeah, just like chaotic and all over the place. And her character as well, I had this, you know, she's supposed to be a warrior. She goes in and fights people, but she also has magic that she wants to use. And she wants to get better at magic. Her whole goal from the beginning was to go to the College of Winterhold to learn more about this magic, right? And we, you know, I was planning to kind of avoid this a little bit, just so that, you know, you don't go to like the college in like the first episode and then only do that. So I wanted to do some side things, and we did a bit of like becoming Dragonborn and activating all those dragons, and that was really fun and stuff. But yeah, I think I might do one last episode one day, hopefully soonish. That's just her journey going from where she is right now to the college, to like kind of have a little bit of an ending, right? To have it not to be so open-ended and unfinished kind of. I just wanted to get to the college, and we leave it like this for now. She's there. If we decide to ever come back to her character, we will do the whole College of Winterhold stuff, go through that stuff and focus on it this time before we move on to other things. But if we don't ever come back, then at least I'll feel like I didn't just abandon the series as much as I did right now, I guess. So yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's probably what it's gonna be. And it might even be the case that maybe I'll port her character over to the Special Edition and we kind of pretend that that's still her, and the quests will be a bit different. I'll probably redo a bunch of them, especially the main stuff with the Dragonborn and so on. The equipment will be a bit different because some of the mods we use there aren't available in that version, but I don't know, might just, you know, might just be nicer to have it in a newer version, or we just continue with the Skyrim vanilla one. Though the problem is, because it's been so long and I had to replace my hard drive in between and so on, I had trouble loading the latest save file for Syria. So as soon as I loaded, something crashes, and I don't know why. I did find one save file that works. I tried a bunch of them, but only one I found that actually works. And it's a couple of hours before we left off. She's still, I think, in Rorikstead? Is that town? I don't remember. It's been so long. It's the one where we did the vampire fight in a cave. So we are in that cave. We are in that city. I don't know if at this point we did the vampire fight yet. I have to double check. But we didn't go to Solitude. We didn't get drunk. We didn't end up in Marcus or whatever it's called. We didn't do the Daedric quest there. I think we did that one, right? Maybe. I've done that quest so many times, so I always forget if we done it with her or not. I think we did, yeah. And we didn't do the Mad Hatter thing, so I'll probably just redo those maybe, but I don't know. Maybe they're not too important. But anyway, that's all for now. Episode 1 may be up as well already, or I'll upload a little bit later after this episode. But yeah, if you have any thoughts, ideas, complaints, wishes, poems, whatever you have, post it in the comments below. And yeah, I think that's it. So thanks a lot for listening to this. Hopefully I have some nice video in the background. But yeah, I'm really excited to get this started. I already played like 10 hours on my own on a sort of similar character over the last few days. So I want to get this going. So anyway, see you guys soon. Bye bye.